is Ron Chernow. Like many other historians, I have been deeply disturbed by the Trump campaign, more deeply disturbed than by any other presidential campaign in our history.
No historian I know thinks that Donald Trump is someone we've seen at any time in our past.
Like so many others, I keep asking myself, how in the world can it be that the Republican Party, the party of Abraham Lincoln, is on the verge of nominating the likes of Donald Trump for President of the United States?
Which brings us to our current predicament of a presidential nominee who borrows from white supremacists. Donald Trump is attuned to the white backlash against a black man in power. Trump is unprecedented because Obama is unprecedented. Without Barack Obama as president, there would be no Donald Trump as presidential nominee.
You probably haven't heard of him, but he was the most notorious swindler of the 1880s. He ruined hundreds of people, including ex-President U.S. Grant, helped bring about a full-scale panic on Wall Street, and reveled in the title the newspapers gave him, the best hated man in America. Through my research, I got to know him pretty well. He was a narcissist, a sociopath, and a shameless liar. Everything was always about him. He considered all his victims losers. He pretended to be immensely rich when he was actually mired in debt. The truth was not in him. And no matter how guilty he was, no matter how many investors he betrayed, or bills he failed to pay, or blatant lies he told, he never apologized, never admitted he'd even once been wrong. Sound familiar?
We've all been horrified by the many shocking statements this man has made, but no less frightening have been the omissions, and that is what I'd like to talk about. I'm disturbed by the words missing from the Trump campaign: liberty and justice, freedom and tolerance. I'm disturbed by the emotions missing from the Trump campaign: kindness and compassion, empathy and understanding. I'm disturbed by the human graces that are missing: irony and wit, nuance and subtlety. I'm disturbed by the groups that are missing: women and blacks, Muslims and Latinos, veterans and the disabled, groups who, if they are discussed at all, are either mocked or insulted. I'm disturbed by the ordinary Americans who are missing: the frail and the weak, the poor and the dispossessed, the sick and the elderly, the people whom Mr. Trump would undoubtedly refer to as losers. I'm disturbed by the absence of anything that is not a glorification of money and power and might. This emphasis has disturbing historical parallels. I'm especially disturbed by the absence of any sense of American history. I'm disturbed by the documents that are missing: the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the Gettysburg Address and the Four Freedoms. I'm disturbed by the movements that are missing: the abolitionists and the suffragettes, the freedom riders and the environmentalists. The only historical movement that Mr. Trump alludes to is a shameful one: America First.
He is unique. We have never before had the candidate of a major party so abusive toward women, toward minorities, to so many millions of our American citizens. What's especially different about Donald Trump is that he's not a patriot. He has no sense of the American past, and he doesn't understand the achievements of this country.
What has the Republican Party come to that in such an unsettling time as this, with so very much at stake, so many momentous, complex problems to be addressed, and yes, so much that we must and can accomplish? Why would we ever choose to entrust our highest office and our future to someone so clearly unsuited for the job? Someone who's never held public office, never served his country in any fashion.
Mr. Trump makes no room in his speeches for any American president. Instead, one gigantic ego hogs the spotlight in an eternal present timed to the 24-hour news cycle.
And Donald Trump has no sense of the glory of the more than 2 centuries of the American Republic, or what we can take pride in today. When I think of the prospect of a Donald Trump presidency, the words of Thomas Jefferson come to mind. I tremble for my country.
We are all the products of an epic saga that has made us who we are as a nation. That whole pageant of America's creation is strangely missing from the Trump campaign. For the first time in my life, I'm actually afraid that we Americans can forget who we are as a people and succumb to historical amnesia. And make no mistake about it, when the past is scrubbed clean and American history becomes a blank slate, Donald Trump or any other demagogue can come along and write upon it whatever the hell he wants. And that disturbs me most of all. Please, 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 folks, don't let it happen here.
We can't afford to allow anyone with the personal qualities my ancestor displayed anywhere near the White House.
President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who so admirably served his country his entire career, said there were 4 key qualities by which we should measure a leader: character, ability, responsibility, and experience. Donald Trump fails to qualify on all 4 counts. And it should be noted, Eisenhower put character first. In the words of the ancient Greeks, character is destiny. So much that Donald Trump spouts is so vulgar and so far from the truth and mean-spirited, it is on that question of character especially that he does not measure up. He is unwise, he is plainly unprepared, unqualified, and it often seems unhinged. How can we possibly put our future in the hands of such a man? It's up to all of us, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, young and old. No matter the blaring show business and the blather of campaign politics, let's pause and think carefully. This far-reaching, all-important choice of leadership is ours to make. We will be held responsible. How will history judge us?
The brutality of Donald Trump's speech is already contaminating our whole society. Even before whatever mischief he might inflict as president, whatever policies he might champion, and whichever Supreme Court justices he might nominate, he is already poisoning our public sphere. He is already fouling our magnificent, huge, unruly, flawed, limited, inspiring, and long-running experiment in multiracial democracy. He has already increased the tensions between the ideals of our origins and its roots in racial subjugation. There is already too much blood in our past to elect this man.